greatest in the land. Someone who always can. Don't you know? Burrito.
I can't believe this. We are on the eve of the season finale of America. Hello, everybody. It's your boy, Flobo Boys, and this is What's Up, Flobo After Hours. We're just here chilling in the treehouse. It's nighttime now. Daylight savings time came and took away all the sun, but it's okay. We're talking, we're chilling, we're hanging out with you guys in the chat on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter via Periscope. And if you're on Twitch, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I need all people to give me all that love, all that admiration, all that respect, y'all. But I'm not alone, of course. You know, What's Up, Flobo After Hours? We sit and we talk with people who are moving and shaking. And this guy is hands down the most influential person I have ever met in the sunny skies of California. I'm going to give it the man who you may know from Rascaroos. You may know him from Raspiration. You may know him from 10 billion other things he's working on. Slingshot Business, Slingshot You. We're talking about all that this afternoon. Give it up for my man, Johnny Bowes.
Oh my God. Look, this guy, he's got his own theme song. He's got his own video intro. This is the most professional thing I've ever been involved in. And I did local access television in Baton Rouge in the early 80s.
Oh, yeah, you are a Louisiana boy with that farmer's friend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, Flobo, thank you for having me here. I'm excited to be here. This is going to be fun. This is going to be fantastic. This is great. I love doing this late night stuff. This is when the conversation gets good. This is when it gets ripe.
Oh, yeah, man. The Flobito Tonight project rolls on. And if you guys have not heard our interview with New Amsterdam, the more of the serious side, do that. New Amsterdam Radio with this guy, Johnny Bowes. Yo, so tomorrow, we're talking this before the show. Tomorrow is election day. 2020, every 4 years, the presidents are up there and you have to battle. We have to pick one. I want to ask you the specifics about who'd you vote for president.
Yeah.
The question I have is, did you vote Kanye West to be your vice president?
Yeah, I guess so. I looked when I got to the ballot. I was like, wait a second. Do I write his name? Wait, his name is right there. Why is it vice president? I didn't see what's this about? Well, whatever. He's got my vote. Let's go. You know?
You're all about that Kanye vote. What is the platform, by the way? I have no idea.
Listen, here's the deal. All right. And I thought about it because listen, a lot of people think that I'm a, just kind of wild or rebellious or, just anti-establishment or a bit of a contrarian, just just for fun, that there's not any thought that goes into this. Well, how could you a vote for Kanye as a vote for Trump or this or that? And just I'm like, listen, guys, I get to do what feels right to me. And I have, I don't really consider myself to be very political, but I am very aware of what's going on around me. I don't like the Democratic Party. I don't like what they have done. Bernie Sanders had a lot of great things to say. And it just seems that these two parties, the Republicans and Democrats, has become a very corporate thing. I feel that anybody that is in those, in those positions, they're puppets. They're just handpicked. They're chosen. Joe Biden to me is, I don't want to say that he's a joke, but it just is like, guys, are we for real right now? Is this is the pick? This is the guy, Right. And then Donald Trump, listen, growing up, I thought Donald Trump was cool. I used to read all of his books, and then, he just kind of became a TV celebrity or whatever. And then he became the president. Like, what? How does that happen? But I don't think he's a good leader. He is a divider, not a uniter, and we need somebody that can, do something to bring it together. But he's just, trying to boost ratings and stuff like that. And it's whatever. Did he actually do anything that he said he was going to do? Not really, but if anything, he's caused a lot of strife. But then, there's also a lot of other things that play into the strife that we see. And this is why I voted for Kanye. This is why I was like, you know what? This is where I'm gonna put my hand and be like, yeah, I'm with that guy. Here's a guy. The biggest way to say it is he's the only one that's not operating out of fear. And that to me, that is, if there's one thing that I'm against, there's one thing that I do not mess with, that is fear. And I feel that on the Republican side, there's a lot of fear. This, kind of like, so help me God, protect my house and my family with my guns and my, this, you're not taking my money. And then there's a lot of fear on the other side. And just, I don't mess with fear. And here's a guy as crazy as it sounds, I'm a run for president. He said it 4 years ago, and he's going for it, and he did it. He got his name on the ballot, whatever percentage he gets, whatever, you can say what you want about Kanye, but, I think that there is something to be said for a guy that, said, this is what I'm going to do. He did it. And really his platform, for all intents and purposes, man, he's got some good things that he's saying. That is any of it going to happen? Probably not. Is he going to get elected? Probably not. But you know what? I can't violate my conscience. And my conscience says Donald's not a great leader. Biden's a bit of a joke. So I'm going to put it where ain't no fear flowing. And that's Yeezy. So, praise Jesus. And, let's all go to Sunday service.
Yo, to be honest with you, I mentioned Kanye, but I thought you were kidding. I didn't think you actually voted. He's not even president. The vice president does nothing. In California,
I don't know who that other guy is.
Yeah.
I don't know who the other guy is, but whatever. He's probably a front, whatever. It's an energy thing, man. It's an energy thing.
I hear you.
That's what it is. I just listen. I was listening to an audio book earlier today. I was on the elliptical, and the phrase, I think I even put this on my Instagram. It says, the outlaws are no longer on the edges. The outlaws are in the middle.
Right.
And that's it, man. That's it. And I feel like we've got a lot of, yeah on this side, yeah on this side. But the real outlaws are the one that are saying, hey, you know what? Some of this stuff is right. Some of this stuff is right. And if everybody would calm down, we might be able to meet in the middle and get something done.
Well, you know what? This is not to make this a political show, but I voted this year, and I like to go back to a time where I didn't have to. I like to be able to have ignorance bliss, but no, the world's changed. They all told me I have to go vote. So you're welcome, America. I did my due diligence. But Johnny
I'm
B.
just so tired of everybody just telling us what to do. Go vote. Vote. Wear a mask. Vote. Vote.
You're gonna get me canceled. Stop.
Listen, I got 2 goals by the end of 2020. Get canceled, get COVID. Let's go.
No.
I'm kidding. These are jokes, guys. These are jokes.
That's
this
what
is fun.
I'm being the straight man because we met in the comedy scene, right? Like when I was trying to learn the craft, and you already were way ahead of me because you used to be a pastor, an actual man of the cloth. Who worked in both Louisiana and Texas, came to Southern California after you decided to move on from that. Let me talk to you about the comedy diversion or the detour. Like, how do you decide to go from like that, church world as you call it, to this, performing for us secular heathens?
Yeah, well, to be honest, first of all, it didn't start as the jump was not from church world to comedy world. It was from church world into the abyss.
Okay.
Hey, I did this for the first 31 years of my life. These are the only memories I have. These are the only things that I really have ever done. That from the time I was 15, 16 years old, I was working at church full time. That's what I did. I was ordained as a pastor at a very young age, and just kind of kept going and got to the point where it was a very high level job, and private jets and big houses and cars and flying around and just so much money going in and out. And
must be nice.
No, it was, I'm not going to lie. It was great. I was a 17-year-old with a secretary, and that's a disaster. It's way too much power. The parents were entrusting their children to an 18-year-old that had really no idea what he was doing. And he was, dragging their junior high kids all around the world on missions trips and things like that.
Where'd you go?
But all over. I think the only continent I haven't been to is Asia, as far as mission trip goes and stuff like that.
Wow.
No, it just, you get to the point where, religion, it gives you these, if you do this, then this will happen. If you do this, then this will happen. It gives you these algorithms, these, arithmetics, if you're good, then you'll get this. If you sow if you give your money, you'll get this back. If you obey God, this will happen. And after time, you see that those formulas don't always work out. And disappointments and discouragements happen, and then you begin to kind of question things. And man, is this really how it goes? Is this really what happens? And so I began to kind of deconstruct my beliefs, and because it was handed to me, man, I was born into it. I didn't even really have a choice. I didn't choose it, but it was something that just really was like, it was a path that was laid out for me, even from a very, very young age. And then ultimately I had the guts to say, hey, I don't really believe this stuff anymore. This is not really who I am. I I don't agree with what is being taught here. I don't agree with how the money is being handled. I don't agree with, what religion has done, in the world. I believe that religion is the most destructive force that has ever happened in the world, because it just does nothing but divide people, and it tells people what they should be doing. And when really, a spiritual experience can be had by everybody, but religion is all about rules and control and things like that. Now, there's positive things to it as well. There's many traditions I've learned from, and I'm never going to be able to wash the 31 years of my life that I lived in there. I'm not going to be able to wash it off. I mean, I know the Bible inside and out and upside down and backwards. And
you will kill that American Bible Challenge.
Yeah, no, for real, and I love it. And there's great stuff there, and there's truth everywhere if you're looking for it. But, you don't approach the Bible as an owner's manual for life or an instruction book or a rule book. It's just, take it like you would Harry Potter. It's like, there's good stories in here. There's good morals in here. There's good, takeaways and stuff. But fast forward, I decided this is not for me. It took me a while to get kind of untangled from that world, but literally sold everything, walked away from all of it, and really had to start over at the age of 31 and just, what do I do now? I've never done anything else. Like, what now? And that was a really, really, really hard time from like 32 to 33 in there. And it was at that point, I was married at the time, and my wife and we moved out to Los Angeles, and we made like this little bucket list, of like, what are the things that you want to do while we live here in Los Angeles? And on there, I was like, man, I think I'd kind of like to try stand-up comedy. And so,
That's awesome.
She really pushed me to do that, pushed me so much to literally say, hey, I signed you up for this comedy therapy workshop at a place called the Clown House, and you have to go to it. And then, fast forward
similar
later, I went, all 6 weeks in a row. We both end up in the green room at the Belly Room in the Comedy Store, the greatest comedy venue on the planet Earth. And I remember standing there meeting you in that green room. Now it's all, I hope you're watching the Showtime documentary. It's absolutely incredible. But I just remember you being there, and you're wearing, the hat backwards. And I just thought you were so cool. Just like, and who is this guy? Like, and what's his deal? And you were, kind of giving me your resume, and I'm a podcaster and we do this, and, wrestling ring announcer and this and that. I was just like, whoa, man, this is amazing. Like, I'm so new here and everything. And, and we just, hit it off ever since. But like that was, God, 2014.
Yes, that was literally 2014
years ago.
I had that date locked in my head, man. Like it was Sunday, August 10th, 2014. And it's the night before Robin Williams passed away. And I always try to link. I try to. I think there's a link between when I started and when he passed. But our story is very similar, because I always wanted to be a stand-up comedy person. I'm actually writing a book about this. It's kind of weird. I'm writing a book about this. I'm writing a book about this, because so you're writing a book too, man. We'll get that in a second. And same, very similar. Like, my ex-girlfriend at the time gave me the Living Social discount, not the Groupon. It was the Living Social, yeah. And 6 weeks of class with one of the most eccentric people, but I love Adam Barnhart to death.
Hey,
one of my graduation,
and a true hero out here.
Yeah, true. And the thing is, what Adam is and allow me to be serious. I'm like Lance Storm. Allow me to be serious for a second. I have so much respect for gay men in their 50s and that kind of age era, because like either they know someone or they're like one person removed from like Stonewall and the outbreak of AIDS and how we treated other citizens who may have something to do with whole life in private because they're less than. So the fact that he was bringing that, like, yeah, I'm gay, I like guys,
right,
opening for Andrew Dice Clay like back in the 80s, I'm like, crazy, bro, super brave. I can't even.
A true Texas gunslinger, man. He is more cowboy than anybody I've ever met, man. Just fearless. I love that guy.
And I love the fact that he taught us about clearing. I'll still do that. I'll still clear before I start. I'll clear before I walk into a room. I thought it was pretty awesome. I know you've since I've done the stand-up circuit because it can drain you a bit. But I love the fact now, if anyone looks at you and your work, you bring a little bit of the pastor stuff and the comedy stuff and the life stuff into this thing you're working on called Slingshot You. Yeah. Explain to me what this is and why it's important.
Well, so all of my business ventures, and really that's, when I went when we moved out here to Los Angeles, I just started doing stuff. I just started trying stuff. And I feel that like one of the things, like when you really take your life down to the studs and start over and you find, really trying to figure out what you want to do, you have to really go all the way back to what you originally defaulted to when you were a kid. And for me, I was the kid with the popsicle stand out in front of the house. I was always putting on shows and basketball tournaments. I mean, I built a haunted house in my garage one year. And then, one time I even did a tattoo parlor on the front porch, because I had a little box of temporary tattoos. And so I started the Rasselroos business. I started this, that, whatever. And it's, just kind of built and grown. And the umbrella that we do everything under is called Slingshot Business. And I have a nonprofit called Slingshot Syndicate, with the idea being that we help you, like a slingshot, launch your ideas or launch what it is that you're trying to do.
I'm also a client, by the way.
Yeah, you are. And, so earlier, right at the very beginning of the quarantine, I was kind of like, man, I was having to rethink everything, because our main business was very much live event focused. And then the other like 75% of it was live events. And then 25% was like producing products for live events. And so when all that got canceled, it was like, oh my God, guys, what do we do now? Like, And I just hired a full-time assistant and brought, bringing people on, and just, oh my God, like, what do we do? And so I really had like a really killer, like April and May of just like, wow, okay, I found another gear here. I didn't know that I was capable of producing products and content and working at this level. And man, boy, did we have to. It just really became like a quarantine warlord. Getting together with friends, like we had all right, we have 2 bags full of misprinted merchandise. What can we do with this?
Yeah.
Let's throw a bunch of bleach on it and like distress it to where you can't see the misprint anymore. And we were turning, 2 garbage bags of t-shirts that were destined for Goodwill. We turned it into $5,000 in a weekend, just let's go. And just having to do that. And so there's kind of this entrepreneurial spirit of like, hey, we're not going to let this year stop us. I started the Slingshot Summer Launch Program, and we had people doing that and really helping people in this crazy year still move forward with their business, still expand, still grow, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And so then after that, what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of open things up to show the other side of what Slingshot is really all about. Yes, it's about business and seeing your dreams become reality, but it's about that inner work and being able to like encourage yourself and motivate yourself and really, do that inner work. And so meditation has been a huge thing for me, but it's always been like something that's been really weird. It's kind of, got this like mystic thing to it. It's Eastern, and it kind of, it's a little unfamiliar in the Western mindset. And so you think about, people, sitting there cross-legged, like, and you can have as many, hip and trendy apps that you hear about on podcasts all you want, but it's still like a little bit like, am I doing this right? What exactly is this?
I do DDP yoga. I have no idea.
Right. Yeah. So I did Slingshot U, which was 6 weeks, a meditation experience where I just kind of broke down and just the way that I described it throughout the program was, I'm just going to lay out a buffet and you can build your own practice. 6 weeks of me running my mouth and talking and having fun and giving ideas and giving things. And if you hear something you like, if you see it, cool, great, go for it, take it, build on it from there. And so that's what Slingshot U was. It was a meditation experience. We do talk about practical stuff like, breath work and visualization and mantras and things like that. But for all intents and purposes, it all comes down to checking in with yourself and really like figuring out like, hey, what's going on here, and taking the control back in your life to like really like not just let life happen to you, but realize that you do have some control. You do have some say so. Even when the world is on fire around you, you can still have a very like, strong and centered life. But all of it boils down to, I want to create as much joy as possible and help people realize that they can create joy in their lives themselves at any moment, anytime.
Yeah, I love the fact of mantras. One of my biggest mantras I always say is make your hometown proud.
I love that. Dude, that's on brand for you too.
Thanks. I'm not trying to take, when you say I'm on brand for me, I'm not sure how to take it half the time.
It is. Listen, you have a very distinct flavor, and it's so like just pure and gold. And I love it. And, it's the fact, like, I'm even looking here at the, the skin for this show, like it's the Mets colors, but it's like also kind of got this like, kind of real angular, like tribal type of deal. Like it's very like it's on brand. This is you, man. And I mean, nobody likes the Mets except for Flobo likes the Mets.
Hey, we're out of time here. No, I'm just kidding. It's like we're done. No, but I wonder, here's my Slingshot business experience. So I've multiple times, I've dabbled with comedy and I thought it was good enough, but I always had this lofty dream of making a comedy album. And I did I dabbled in 2016. I have an EP. It's called Cookies and Beer, which you were a part of. You came in, made it happen. But I remember 2 years later thinking I want to try full length. And so for comedians, it's usually about 45 to about an hour and 45 hour and a half minutes at 45, 90 minute spot about doing your own comedy album. I was scared. I was nervous. I had no idea what was going to be done because I had self-produced Cookies and Beer. And I said, I can't go through that again of trying to get people, trying to make this thing happen. Yeah. So John Bowles goes, no, we're gonna make this happen. And granted, the venue was the same between both shows, but like it was a different world together. The crowd was hipper. They were ready for a good show. You had Janae give me wine because I was absolutely nervous. You had me take an Uber Black like the quarter mile from my house.
Yeah, dude.
Like it became this whole different thing. So American for now, I mean, it's crazy. It's 2 years old now, or 2 years old in a month now. But like when I made that was the magnum opus. If I never did comedy again, I got to do a full length show thanks to the Slingshot mindset.
Yeah. We've certainly botched that video footage, but the audio's decent.
Audio was great, man. The audio's great. Can't wait for the final album.
Yes.
I actually have some like concepts in my brain for that.
The trilogy, the triptych. Let's go.
I know, man. I know you're working on a venue too for your stuff, so I'd probably.
Oh yeah, no, we've got our own venue now. Yeah, no, like we have the entire third floor of a factory in downtown Santa Monica, and it's got a 1,000 square foot studio space. We're building out a podcast studio. We'll be able to do podcast, live video anywhere. But the studio space is beautiful, and so we're definitely going to turn that into a venue. By the time we get to open California back up for events and such like that, we're gonna have some real fun there at Slingshot Studio.
Just real quick, I got to give a shout out to Peyton Wesner here. He says New York Mets colors at those shows repping the Florida Gators. So when I was living in Florida, hold on. When I was living in Florida, there was Tebow was playing for the Gators. Okay. And so people would drive because my school didn't have a football team. They would drive 2 hours to Gainesville every Saturday or Friday night and decide to watch Tebow. So because of that, I became an FSU fan, just to spite everybody. So I'm actually more Knowles than Gators.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah, just me being contrarian for the sake of being
contrarian. Hanover.
Just shaking my head no. So back to comedy real quick, because I think this is very, very important. On this show, we've done 18 episodes of Wassup Flobo, and we've had Ricky Trent. We had Amber Scalzo.
Yes.
We had Johnny Bowles himself, and of course, it's Wassup Flobo. So the idea is, people don't know this, but we are our own little clique, Like,
That's
when
right.
are we going to get together and have a show where we get to talk about the war stories of the comedy game?
Yes. Oh, man. There's one guy missing from that. Technically, like 2 guys missing from that.
One guy, to me, is Josh Waldrop, but I think you mean Paul Flores.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah.
Well, I was referring to Paul Flores and his great close personal friend, Mickey Bennett, as well.
Yeah. I think so. The person who coined us the Dream Team, which is what we call ourselves, should be a part of that. And
that's true. That's true. Shout out Josh Waldrop.
Charlene says, watch Are You Garbage podcast by Tony Hinchcliffe. I promise you might like him if you hear his backstory. I don't know, man. Like I said, first impressions are everlasting. I saw Tony Hinchcliffe live, and he bombed, and he yelled at us for bombing. so I'll watch his stuff. I'm not gonna become a fan because he turned on us.
I love Tony Hinchcliffe.
He's a good brand. I'm just saying, my first time seeing him was live, and then when people stopped laughing at his jokes or didn't laugh, he was like, "I toured with Rogan. What's wrong with you, Burbank?"
Yeah.
What are you doing? You can't turn heel on me, bro.
Yeah.
But Charlene says, please try and listen. All right, Are You Garbage podcast? I'll put it to my list. So it's November. here in the United States. You know, if we survive the week. I know you are currently or formerly a wrestling person, like I am. The wrestling arts.
Listen. At this point, I think I'm too far in. There's no getting out at this point.
Okay, I'm great. So Survivor Series season, man. Tell me what you're feeling. What's good? What's not good? Let me have it as a guy who I feel a lot of wrestling fans can be this way, where we like are really into wrestling, but we're still married to it. But we go our separate ways. We come back. Like, what's your perspective? What's hot? What's not?
Yeah, well, I'll give you my 2020 wrestling experience. So I went to the Royal Rumble. I usually try to go every year because we do little, kind of renegade pop-ups and in whatever city, and it was in Houston this year. So, that was great. I love it there. That's real close to home for me. And so, that was good. But then we were gearing up for like the biggest WrestleMania week ever. I think we had like 17 different pop-ups planned over WrestleMania week. Every major promotion outside of WWE had hired us to do something for them. It was going to be incredible, but then all that got canceled. And, so then just wrestling got weird, right? Because now it's like it's just in front of computer screens and stuff like that. And
eventually, yeah.
I'll say this though. I mean, like, shout out WWE for literally like leading the way in like this sports, in this era type of thing. I mean, they never stopped. They moved to Performance Center for a while, but now, I mean, they got this residency going on down at the, Thunderdome thing. I mean, it's so cool. But WrestleMania, the only thing I actually watched was the Undertaker AJ Styles thing, and I thought it was one of the coolest things ever. Absolutely loved that. And then I kind of went into like indie world because we started really having to help, a lot of, these independent guys or guys that were signed to smaller companies. So I just was really working with a lot of those guys, and spending time talking to them, getting to know them. Back in earlier this year, we had a very promising deal with Ring of Honor. So really kind of getting to know a lot of those guys. And but then just how weird has this year been? I mean, because you had the whole like speaking out thing, and half the wrestlers on the planet got canceled, and we were losing some clients and stuff, and just crazy, but we kind of fell out of touch with what WWE was doing because it was kind of weird to watch it on TV. I'd watch anything, but then about a month ago, I don't know, maybe it was a month and a half, 6 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
The biggest pop of the year for me, you know what it was?
SummerSlam. You never see it coming? Roman Reigns?
Oh, well, I mean, a little bit. Roman Reigns lost the vest, boys.
That was very specific.
Listen, Roman took the vest off, and that biggest pop of the year for me.
Yeah.
If I liked him before, now
right.
This is like one of the greatest of all times. Roman Reigns he's gonna be up there with Cena, The Rock. This guy, he's got what it takes, man. How dare he cover that stuff up for so long? But Roman Reigns taking off the vest. I'm invested. Like, he immediately, like, okay, next Lapel Yeah drop is gonna be a Roman Reigns shirt. The big dog is here. So that has been my 2020. Oh, and then also Jake Atlas too. Good friend. What was so wild is in January of 2019, he and I sat down at a Starbucks in El Monte, California, and we sat down and talked about merchandise for him. He had no merchandise, and I sat down and I said, Jake, I really feel like this is going to be your year. This is, you're going straight to the top, this year. It's going to be, and then, he ended up in NXT before the end of that year and has just been, thriving ever since. And so that was really cool, to see that happen. But yeah, I mean, that's really been kind of wrestling for me. I love Survivor Series. I love the idea of 5-on-5 teams. Are they going to be doing kind of the traditional match?
Yeah, they're doing it. Mm-hmm. It's still brand versus brand, but there's traditional 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot to unpack what you said. But let me do a Survivor Series first. Look, man, I'm a wrestling fan through and through. I think ever since becoming an AfterBuzz host, I've watched every single episode of WWE programming, including Main Event, so for about a year. So I'm locked in because
Yeah.
I live tweet the shows. I have a show now. I do NXT coverage shows, so I try to get the promotion out there, and I try to practice my comedy because I'm not going to stages every week, so I try to do funny stuff. If there are funny, it's up to you guys. But if
Yeah.
you're following me on Twitter, you get flooded with live tweeting when it happens. But Survivor Series as a big four, I never got.
Really?
I felt like Survivor Series' appeal was that it was around Thanksgiving. But as it's matured, they've tried to do graft bragging rights onto it. Who cares if SmackDown's better than Raw?
The brand versus brand thing. Initially, if you go back to the first couple Survivor Series, it was more like you just had these interesting pairings, you know? And like when you had, I remember like they did like a Ultimate Warrior with Legion of Doom, and like I can't remember who else was on that team, but it just made sense of like, you know, Road Warriors with Ultimate Warrior, you know, and it just was interesting pairings. But now you kind of locked into this brand thing, you know, which is even back in the day. Remember when it was Jerry Lawler, and then like he had like the King's Court with all the little people and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know, and then you had like all the hearts on a team, or you know, whatever. But I feel like the brand versus brand thing is kind of like, I mean, does anybody really like, oh, I'm a Raw guy, or oh, I'm a SmackDown? I don't know that any of us are really that bought in to a specific brand more than we are to specific wrestlers, you know? And as much as Vince McMahon wants to say that, like, no, the company is over and not the wrestlers, like, yeah, you're right. No, it's like WWF over everything. But within that, I don't think that Raw and SmackDown are your two things that you bank on of like who people are cheering for. You know, I think you got your heels and your baddies, you know, your heels and your baby faces, you know,
right.
And that's what it used to be. It used to be a team of baby faces with some sort of the Hulkamaniacs, and it was like Hulk and Tugboat and, you know, this guy and that guy. And so I would like to see it kind of go back to that type of thing where it's like interesting pairings, you know?
Yeah, I mean, to their credit, this year they're just saying, look, brand versus brand. But the past 2 or 3 years, they were like actually make an angle of an invading faction on the other shows, like people cared about.
Yeah.
So for me, when I see SS in text, I always assume SummerSlam, the thinking man's WrestleMania. But Survivor Series
again, so on brand for you.
Why?
And it's true too. It is true. You're not wrong.
Look, man, we could talk about WrestleMania moments or blue in the face, but growing up, so SummerSlam was the last weekend of the summer. Usually it was Vince McMahon's birthday. You know, that was the one pay-per-view you're allowed to go to someone's house and watch and sleep over. Like, it became a cool event. Highway to Hell, out-of-body experience, 2000, Brock vs. Rock 2002. Like, SummerSlam to me was like, summer's over. Here's a giant party. School's going to start in a week and a half. We're going to shoot water guns in a day, watch wrestling, and then probably eat brunch the next day. It was awesome. But maybe just me.
Good time. I listen. I always Royal Rumble's the greatest pay-per-view of the year. That's me.
I bet you would say that.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Before I move on, John's got to say that What's Up Flobo is brought to you by Clipper Ranks. See, I'm part of Beard Gang. Got to make sure my thing looks fresh. Got to make sure my thing looks well nourished. ClipperRanks.com. All natural ingredients. Use a promo code Flobo for a discount. That's ClipperRanks.com. Now, explain to me this, John.
Oh, boy.
I feel like I know you pretty well over the couple years, but the last 2 years, you've been like super amped about these LSU Tigers.
Come on, baby.
What is the deal with this? I feel like it came out of nowhere.
Okay. Let me say this. A huge part of my like LSU of my LSU experience was of my LSU love is tied to Coach Ed Orgeron. And when Coach O showed up at LSU, I just was like, who is this guy? This is wild. And also too, it kind of corresponds with like me getting like my head out of like Jesus world and having some free time. And then also, you know, getting a business to the point where it's like, hey, this is kind of a thing. It's going. I don't feel like I'm in survival mode all the time. So I kind of have time for a hobby. And then, you know, last 2 years, it just really became like, man, these guys are pretty fun to watch. And then last year specifically, Greatest college football team of all time, 15-0. Quarterback won the Heisman. Coach won the Coach of the Year. Every major award down on the line, and then literally half the first round of the NFL draft was from LSU. It just incredible. And this year is not. But go Tigers.
Still, so it's not like a trending thing. It's like winners win. You're bought in. That's like in your blood now.
There's always. That's where I grew up. I wasn't born there. I was born in St. Louis and then moved there when I was like 2. So I don't remember anything before that. And then I spent like a good chunk of my late teen years back in Missouri because my parents moved back there, but then immediately moved there as after graduation and moved back to Louisiana. That's where I've lived more than anywhere else. That's, I'm reading Coach O's autobiography right now that just came out a couple of days ago. And on the back of it, it said that I think it was Scott Van Pelt. He put this quote. He's like, people from Louisiana are not from there. They're of there. Ooh. And I think that is very, very true. And just Louisiana is just the greatest place in America, man. The food, the culture, the people, the architecture, the landscape. The hurricanes, the constant, regular devastation and rebuilding. It just is great, bro. Lil Booty, like everything. Lil Wayne, let's go. Yeah. And it's just, and that is true. It's just my Louisiana upbringing. That is where I identify, just like you and the New York and the Mets and the, that kind of like, this is me, man. Yeah. I've always been a Tiger fan. But just then too, also as I've gotten older, I guess I've kind of become like a little bit of the, like, that's my team, and just like, kind of enjoying watching it, and big Tiger guy.
Is it school wide or just a football team?
Well, LSU football definitely is the predominant sport there, but LSU baseball is also, they're very good, but it's also kind of hard to watch that stuff too. It's kind of hard to like find LSU baseball on TV when you live in, and then who watches baseball on TV anywhere? It takes a lot out of me. However, I know that like Shaquille O'Neal's kid is going to be a starter for LSU. And so Sharif is going to be playing there. So I think that LSU has got, a bright future in basketball. And then, LSU gymnastics, just constantly, at the top of the game there. But LSU football is definitely king because it's the SEC, and, even though this year is not fantastic, it's still enjoyable. Go Tigers.
I wish that my school was big enough to support. Like we were a basketball school, we had a football team. Our baseball guys were there, and they were good, but they weren't really nice. So we had school, and our head rival was like an aeronautical school, so it was like Flagler Riddle games. Like, so you talked about your. Wait, let's see this. Peyton has a question for you. He says, "Having practically grown up in Louisiana, what makes Popeyes so great?"
Yo, listen, first of all, much respect to recognize that Popeyes is the superior fried chicken. There's no, KFC, sorry, Chick-fil-A, listen, take that hate elsewhere.
No one puts KFC number 1, but it's always around.
But no, Popeyes, man, I was actually just telling somebody the other day that there was this guy, again, grew up super Southern church, this guy named Carl Everett. He managed several Popeyes and then eventually went on to go work at a church in an administrative role. But we would have like a Saturday morning prayer meeting very early on a Saturday morning, 7 a.m. We'd go. And can you imagine as a kid getting drug out of bed for a 7 a.m. prayer meeting, but it was at a Popeyes. And old brother Carl, he would put in a whole tray of biscuits right when we got there. And about 10 minutes into that prayer meeting, he pulled them biscuits out. And listen, when I was a kid, I was about this tall, about this wide. A lot of it had to do with them biscuits. And it's just so good, man. And I'll tell you this also, that Louisiana Popeyes tastes different than anywhere else Popeyes.
I agree.
It's just a little bit different. And then even back, growing up, there was always these rumors of like, oh, hey, Robbie's mom knows how to make Popeyes biscuits. They're like somehow like got the recipe like before the internet or something like that. Yeah. Somebody had it written down. But dude, man, I think part of it's the whole experience too, going in there and like, having somebody call you baby, when you're ordering and stuff like that. And just, it's just so good, man. And no lie, there's been several times I put down an 8-piece Popeye spicy by myself.
Oh dang! Oh man, I feel sorry for your butthole the next day. I actually remember Popeyes tasting different in the '90s when it was like only like a couple places all over the
Yeah,
country. But then I guess it blew up, and I guess the format had to be changed to appeal to the masses. But but there was a time where it was like super seasoned, like it was a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
different category of what that was. But yeah, it's been a while since I did the Popeyes. I did the chicken sandwich rush back in 2019. Back years ago,
Yeah.
back last year.
Yeah,
But I haven't really.
that was so long ago. I just had one for the first time like a month ago.
Oh, there's no lines now.
Yeah,
You might-
it's
you
good
might
though.
as
Oh,
well,
it's
yeah.
good. I like it way better than Chick-fil-A. That's just me though. It's
Like
just
the
me.
waffle fries, though, man. Like the
I
waffle.
don't go to listen. I don't go to Popeyes for fries.
Fair enough.
I go to Chick-fil-A for the fries. I mean, the Chick-fil-A fries is very, very good though. No
You
lie.
got me though. So we talked about how the pandemic affected your business, but what about you personally, man? Like, what's the mental
Oh.
state? Like, what do you do to maintain, to manage? Are you? He's like, I'm not. I'm freaking out.
Listen, how about this? I was telling somebody the other day, I said, you know what the theme for 2020 is for me? Is if it's scary, it's the right decision.
Yeah.
So, dude, I don't know. I mean, I do know. It's because I'm a wild man and I ain't scared. But I have grown and expanded more this year than any other year of my existence, man. This is literally, I will look back on 2020. I hate it. It's been absolutely just devastating. I literally had to change everything from top to bottom. I mean, for someone like myself that just thrives on being around people and then also too, like, being like recently single, again, going into that pandemic of like, just like, whoa, like I ain't got nobody here at this house with me, and then just feeling so isolated from people. And then just, it was really, really hard emotionally. And there's been several times where I've had to really do some deep, inner work, but really what it came down to is me choosing to do the hard thing and to know when everybody else is retreating, going inside, doing, I'm going to just kind of sit here and wait around. No, I have to expand. I have to take the chance. I have to double down. And we've seen incredible growth, business, personal, for me. Personally, I've started getting mad at the dog a lot, like, bro, like,
Wait,
go live your life.
what's the name of your dog? Please say
Gorgeous George.
Your dog is named Gorgeous George. That is on brand, but as you were.
It's true. But yeah, man, it's not easy.
Yeah.
I have been, and then too, and and I know that everybody has an opinion about this, but I have been able to, get out a little bit, and we're starting to do some events again and stuff like that. But my life from January until the end of March was just nonstop, man. I think, right before the pandemic shut down, I went on a 36-hour trip from Los Angeles to New Orleans, 6 hours in New Orleans, met my new niece, who was only 5 days old at the time, got to spend 6 hours there with her, got on a plane, flew to Tampa for that night, had a meeting the next morning at the venue for WrestleMania, the pop-ups that we were doing, got on a plane that afternoon, landed in Cleveland. My friend Tony flew up. We had a meeting there, hung out. Great to see him. First time in several years. Got on a plane back to LA. All of that in 36 hours. And that was like a regular occurrence. Las Vegas, deals, going, blowing. And then all of a sudden, nothing. Yeah. And just like, it was like a rug got pulled out from under us that we didn't even know we were standing on. And so many new problems. Everything had to change. So much has gone online. And just absolutely just wild, to be a small business owner and then to just be living on your own, apart from any of your family. Like, I don't have family here, so, but
yeah.
Question, how many miles was that? Oh, I have no idea. It was a lot. It was so fun though. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, again, people who watch this show or stream the show weekly knows that, like, not to say I had everything together, but in March I had 2 big gigs, one in Alaska and one in Japan, because I was like, wow. I've been doing comedy for 6 years. It's about time I took on the road, and I will self-finance for now until I get some demand generation. So my college, which doesn't have a football team, called me up and said, hey, can you teach kids comedy in March? So March was going to be the tour. And that the week went like this. There's another host that I know named Punk Rock. His name is actually Punk Rock. We did a video together this Sunday. I flew to Florida the Wednesday. They gave me a pickup truck for a rental car. I performed the Thursday, and Thursday afternoon is when the NBA shut down. And when the NBA shut down, Domino's. So that was like March 9th. And I scurried back to LA on that Sunday, and that was it. Alaska was done. Japan was done. And I was kind of like, oh, man, maybe this is a sign. I should probably quit comedy, bro. But like at the same time, because of the shutdown and the time being at home, like I have so many shows now, not to brag, but like be able to infuse the comedy I was going to do on some stages out there into my bedroom, you know what I mean? And being able to do a wrestling show with comedy or a late night show with comedy or like a video game commentary. I'm getting to that now too on weekends with comedy. It's just been gone. Yeah. Yeah, it's been awesome.
It's been wild, man. It's been wild. And just watching you do what you have done, all the different shows. I mean, you've got like a full-blown like studio there, you know, at your house doing a show every 5 minutes, you know.
It's every night.
It's incredible, you know. And I've said it before, man. Like no one I know is more of a doer than you are. You do all of the stuff and you're going for it. And you, despite Corona, despite 2020, despite all that, you have not ceased to stop doing. And that is, you know, you're not, let's see, we'll go back to the Bible. You know, it says, be ye a doer of the word, not just a hearer of the word. We all get these ideas. Oh, man, what if I do this? What if I do that? What if I do that? And I even we had you as a special guest at the Slingshot Summer Launch Program.
That was fun.
I took more notes during that session than I did with any other person. And we have people on there that are way more established and make way more money than you do.
That's for sure.
You had the truth, man, because this is the power, and this is what it is, man. You have harnessed this, and this is something that I feel that I have had to step into this year. Is literally stop talking about it and do it. Just figure out a way to start right now and do it. Give yourself a deadline and do it. And right now, I mean, I have said publicly, this is going to be the third time now, I'm launching a coffee company on Black Friday.
Oh, what? Like mail order? Like a cart?
Yeah, it's all online because at the beginning of the year, we were going to do a beignet and coffee truck.
Yeah.
Called French Quarter. We had to start that 2020 and then just like, I mean, we were looking for trucks in February and then just like, okay, I don't know that this is the best time to do this. And so pivot, I still want to do it. Why would I let this stop me? So what can I do right now? I can still roast my coffee. We can still create our products, create our brand, and sell it online. And then eventually, once we establish that, then move to the truck, to the brick and mortar, so on and so forth. But I'm saying it. I'm doing it. Like done. I have to do it. Black Friday is going up. FrenchQuarterCoffee.com.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that's not true. FrenchQuarter.coffee. That's what I got.
So don't go to that first site. Go to the second site.
Yeah, not what I just said. FrenchQuarter.coffee. That's it.
So one of my broadcast colleagues, Jack Farmer, has a bit of a promotion.
I love Jack. I know. I met him when you were running for mayor.
Yeah, which I didn't run for mayor, and I lost. Don't worry about that. That was a mistake. And he has to deal with Broster's Coffee, and because Broster's does the Vince Russo blend, and they got to deal with them. So I'm just saying, what's a guy got to do to get a Flobito blend of coffee? I want dueling coffee blends. Oh, my face in the bag. Like, help me out.
No, listen, we can make it happen.
That's what I'm talking about.
Say no more.
Premiere. I'm going to hold you to it.
Say no more. White label that stuff.
Want to thank you so much for checking out the show, everyone. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You have some questions for John? Let us know in the chat below. I thank you for the kind words, and I appreciate that. And the reason why I wanted to get you one-on-one before we do the Dream Team show, which we got to do, is because I really believe in that whole iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough now that when people email me or text me or LinkedIn DM, they ask me questions, I share it because It comes down to how you apply it. Like, there's no reason to hoard knowledge when it comes to doing this.
Right.
Because look, I'm still in my bedroom. That's literally my dresser in the background there.
Yeah.
But like, I see what you've done. And for those of you guys that don't know, there was a time where John basically made Johnny Dumbles. He made wrestling underwear. And like you have like it's called Wrestle Rules, and it was great. And for whatever reason, it petered out. Can I use that phrase? Can I say that? Most guys would have just tossed it and been like, I tried doing it, but the man held me down. But you've basically, rebuilt LapelYeah.com, and that just did pins for a while, and t-shirts got to it. Now you have like your own label, you're white labeling other things, and that's destroying Rebuild. And I think of all the things I've done this year, the things I'm most proud about is saving New Amsterdam as a brand. When that company failed, I could have been like, forget it. But now it's become like the over umbrella organization to what I'm doing. I got that from you. So thank you for the praise, but you are the inspiration, good sir.
Bless, man. That's so true. It is. There's no such thing as a failure, that's not it. The only failure is if you stop. And, that is, we have been met with so many challenges. And then, this year has been the biggest challenge of them all, but you just keep going. You learn, you grow, you build on what you pivot when you got to pivot. You fake it when you have to, you over deliver, the whole thing. And dude, I've had some insane failures, I've had failures that I'm still paying for. I got failures that I'm probably gonna be paying for the next 10 years, maybe, I got to sell a lot of coffee. We get through it. No problem.
With my face on it.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. That Flobo coffee going to get me take care of all that debt from Wrestle Crate. But man, it's just, you just got to keep going, man. And that's what you've done. And it shows. And it just, when you have something that you really believe in, like you believe in New Amsterdam, that's the thing. When you talk about it, you're talking about a city. You're talking about, this is a real vision. This is something that's not just like, oh, this is a cool brand. It's like something that's in here. It's something that when you talk about it, people kind of like, I just don't know if I quite get it. But like to you, it's like, what do you mean you don't get it? Like, it's the coolest thing ever, And for me, like the slingshot thing, like people like slingshot went out of this kind of, I'm like, guys,
David killed Goliath. I saw it.
Do this, bro. This is what we do. Get in the slingshot. Let's go. And to me, it's just, one little thing after another. And now we're at the point where some of these things are beginning to converge and people are beginning to understand what it is that we do. I've got a team around me that gets that, like, hey, guys, you're not packing orders full of T-shirts and pins and this and that. That's not what this is about. This is about bringing joy to people. And sometimes that joy is in a live shopping experience. Sometimes that joy is when they go to the mailbox and they forgot that they ordered something and they open something special. That joy is being able to offer a live stream event to where they can learn some tools that can actually help them overcome their anxiety and depression. That joy is a cup of coffee. That joy is this, that, or whatever, and more than that. And it's because that New Amsterdam is bigger than just, oh, it's an NXT show, it's a Netflix show, it's a, it's a late night show, it's a this, that, or whatever. It's so much more to you, and you refuse to give up on it, and you just keep building on it, and they'll see it, man. They're gonna know.
Yeah, man, because, hey, this is the world we're living in. Might as well build it brick by brick. I want to say this is a lot of fun, man. I'm glad you came on the show.
Thank you for having me, man.
Get to hear about both Kanye West and Professor Wrestling in the same hour. Here's the fun part. I need you to tell me everything you're working on so people watching the show right now can follow you, stalk you, become a new fan, give a high five to Gorgeous George because he's so adorable on your social media platforms.
Little punk. Yeah, I'll say this, jonathanbowles.com, everything is right there. I kind of use that as like a hub. You can find pretty much anything that I'm doing. You can find it on there. Right now, I think the thing that I'm most excited about, yesterday we started November to Remember, which is kind of like the next iteration of what we do with Slingshot. So we did the Slingshot summer launch, then we did Slingshot U, the meditation experience, and now we're doing November to Remember, which is basically just a challenge, based 30 days for your alignment and excitement, mind, body, and soul. It's all on my Instagram right now. I did a little 20-minute video on it the other day. people from all over. Oh yeah, Jay Bowles for president. I love it. Listen, I don't know if anybody wants that, but like, I ain't scared. Let's go. Hail to the chief. That's the thing.
Kanye's like, how, Sway? How'd I lose? No.
How? Exactly. But yeah, go check it out, jonathanbowles.com. Follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. But the website, it's got links to my podcast that is still updated fairly regularly. We're about to drop all the Slingshot U audio on there.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we're Slingshot Live is coming back every Wednesday night now. We did it on Friday nights for a while. We're going to move it to Wednesday nights at 5:00 Pacific. That's just me going 30 minutes live, whatever kind of comes, and obviously, there's a lot going on in the world, right now. So I think this coming Wednesday, we're going to talk about that idea about outlaws and living in the middle and, that kind of thing. And just fun, man, just fun, doing my best, just, staying in the joy business, making people happy.
For those of you who've never experienced Jay Bowles, this is 100% someone who lives their truth. You can like it, you can love it, you can hate it, or be in the middle, as he says, but that is 100% real, which I give you all the respect in the world for, even though sometimes you confuse the heck out of me. But what's he talking about? But man, I wish you all the best. We got to come back. We got to do the Dream Team show. We got to do that.
Yes.
Because that would be sick. I don't know when that's going to happen. Probably a big holiday episode or whatnot.
So good. So yeah. I can't wait. That's gonna be awesome. I listen. I'm gonna do a tight 5. Watch me.
What? Well, let me know if I get the coffee first. I don't know if you're legit. And after I get the coffee,
good.
The quid pro quo, right? Look at my brain.
Yes.
This is What's Up, Flobo. We're back here every Monday night, 10 p.m. Pacific, on Twitch, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook. Thank you so much for checking out. But until next time, make your hometown proud.
The baddest in the land.